Welcome to Container Exchanger, where we provide returnable container broker services to cost-conscious manufacturing companies. In this edition, we will be talking about Gaylord box selection, some of the and features and other aspects of Gaylord boxes that you'll need to be aware of when selecting the right Gaylord box for your application. Little question that we get asked often about Gaylord boxes is how are they packaged. And Gaylord boxes, as you see here, normally come palletized, strapped to a skid. You'll get anywhere from 25 to 40 boxes on a skid, and generally those skids are going to measure around 50 inches tall or so, so that they can be double stacked in a trailer. The skid size is really quite large, because the box itself can measure up to 45 inch by 45 inches length by width. When you flatten that out, you basically get a 90 inch wide, and then as far as the depth is concerned, that depth on the skid would be like a 60-inch depth. So really a very large skid, very bulky, kind of difficult to handle. Skid would be 60 by 90 by 45 or 50 inches tall, would handle anywhere between 25 and 40 boxes typically. These are best sold kind of as truckload or half truckload kind of bulk rates, so that bulky skid doesn't have to get handled over and over again, and we don't get damaged during transit. And truckload quantities can vary anywhere between 500 and 800 pieces, depending on how thick the boxes are. Now, as far as thickness is concerned, this is often a concern for buyers of Gaylord boxes. Is it going to properly hold your material? And the way we generally measure this here at Container Exchanger is going to be based on the number of wall layers of cardboard. In these two examples here, I've got basically each wall layer is represented by a layer of fluting. This one in particular on the top is a really thick box, really uncommonly thick, is a 5-wall box. And then down here at the bottom, I've got 3 layers of fluting, which we would call a 3-wall box. And that really 3-wall can generally satisfy a lot of people's requirements. There are 2-wall boxes also available, and that's really for kind of light-duty recycling. If you're getting into maybe metals and need a box to put scrap metals and whatnot into, you're going to be looking for a 3-wall box or better. Some 3-wall boxes will handle it, very easily, and then some you may want to use some strapping around them. Once you get them fully loaded, you might strap them or stretch wrap them just to add a little extra reinforcement. 4 and 5 layer boxes, of course, are the heaviest and are basically going to handle just about any job you can throw at it. We've got a couple different shapes. There's the octagon, which you'll see in the picture above, and then the rectangle in the picture below. That's just 2 different sizes. The reason it's called an octagon is just because the corners are just kind of cut off of it, and you'd have that treatment on all 4 corners, whereas a rectangle box comes all the way out. And the reason that the box is made as as an octagon is that size really holds the weight a little bit better. So sometimes a larger box might be an octagon, while the rectangle sometimes is a smaller box. Box bottoms, you can have a full bottom box where these flaps right here are actually attached to the sidewalls, and then of course there's a partial bottom box or a slip sheet, often called a slip sheet or a drop-in box. And what you would have with that box is partial flaps, maybe like a 6-inch or an 8-inch or maybe sometimes even a 10-inch flap, and that leaves just a little square there. And what we do is include a sheet of cardboard that is then dropped into the bottom of the box, and that seals off the bottom. Now, if you're just putting really granular materials in there, then you would need to use a liner with this slip-in box. but anything kind of chunky, if you've got you know, a reasonably large part, you would never have a problem with a slip sheet with any parts getting out from that box. Top flaps. Some boxes have top flaps and some don't. Some people believe that the top flaps prevent the box from being damaged when you stack another skid on top of that, and that's true to a certain extent, but I think it's important to realize that top flaps aren't really 100% required most of the time. Produce boxes are common as growers of produce might put large vegetables such as pumpkins or lettuce in this type of box. Some of those boxes can have ventilation holes, as can be seen here and here. And that's just something to be aware of when you're looking at your listings on ContainerExchanger.com, is to check if it's a produce box and evaluate whether you absolutely do not need those ventilation holes or not, and just kind of make sure that you're communicating with your sales representative about your needs. Things to watch out for, cleanliness. How clean do your boxes really need to be? If you need a super clean box, then really, for example, you want to store clothing in them, or some other type of process where you can't have contamination, then you really have two options, which is either to use a liner, which would be a large plastic bag that you'd put inside the box, or really go towards the new box market, because it's important to realize that with used boxes, they may have been used once or twice. They come from an industrial environment, so if you really need a clean box, it's important to think about whether you want a used one or should go new. To get started on finding some used Gaylord boxes that will suit your requirements, visit ContainerExchanger.com. That's Exchanger with an R to get started, and I'll just go ahead and navigate there for us so that you can see. This is the ContainerExchanger.com website, and you would get here just by typing ContainerExchanger.com into your address bar there at the top. And Gaylord boxes is my first little option here under bulk containers, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. And what you'll find when you get here is that we've got several listings at different price points in different areas throughout the country. And if you click within a listing, for example, these boxes right here in California, we've got all kinds of information about them, such as the size. This is a 48 by 40 by 42. This particular box actually has full top and bottom flaps. The additional information section is a great place to find out all about how many boxes come on a truckload, any additional charges based on the quantities that you may desire. There may be some information about the holding capacity, maybe even a prior use, what was in the box originally. Also shipping from locations so that we can calculate freight appropriately. You'll have anywhere between 0 or 3 pictures. You can blow those pictures up just by clicking on them, and in this one we've actually got a full product specification there, and also a couple pictures of the boxes themselves. You'll need to provide us with your first and last name, a company name, and zip code that you're shipping to, as well as some contact information and the number of boxes required. If you've got specific concerns or needs that you feel we should be aware of, you can fill them out there. That way the sales representative is fully aware of your requirements when he calls you. And just click the submit button and we'll be in touch shortly. If for chance that you find a message after you click submit that says email not submitted or form did not go through or anything to that effect, of course you'll have to back up and give it another shot, but the system really works pretty well. Once again, thank you very much for visiting ContainerExchanger.com, and we look forward to working with you.